Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dizer, and I'm here with my co-host and Dami Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. How was your vacation?
It was really good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. It was the first vacation in a long time that I felt rested, cut off from media, kind of in a little bliss bubble, which fills me up to come back, and felt really well.
Sounds good.
How was yours?
Oh, it was so good. Thank you. Just the best. So, we got back into Dami Health the last few days.
Saturday night, actually.
Saturday night with 2 rapid-fire posts.
Mm-hmm.
The topic of the post, one was easing into the new year, which I think was an awesome message.
Mm-hmm. The
second one was about your skin color and about your history with tanning beds.
Right. So it was just it just came from a personal reflection, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to share this, and it just was, it was just very honestly intended, and then it kind of blew up a bit.
Yeah, it got a bit wild.
There's
So let's explain it first. When you were a teenager.
Okay, so anybody that's followed us probably knows that I had a really challenging time between the ages of, we'll say, 12 and probably my early 20s. I mean, it got progressively better, but I have been through a lot of things. And a lot of it was my own demons, I guess, and a lot of it came from a lack of self-confidence and what I would classify as self-abuse. So one of the things that I was reflecting on this holidays is David and I were having our pictures taken, and I was just so white in the photos, yet it didn't offend me. So it which came to mind how I used to be so disgusted by my own skin color. I am naturally very, very white, and all the women I looked up to that were in, say at the time it was like fashion magazines and popular culture, were blonde and blue-eyed, but then they had that deep golden brown skin. So I was always trying to achieve that, which was extremely difficult for me. So I went through phases of going to the tanning bed literally every day.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Every day.
Oh yeah.
And the tanning beds were huge at that time too.
It's terrible. Yes.
They were just on the scene, and it was
I would make it part of my routine. I'd go to work, and on my way home from work, I would stop at the tanning bed.
Wow.
And on top of that, put this lotion on that would bring your blood to the surface so that you could deepen your tan. I mean, it mortifies me now.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to self-tanner, which, I still, once in a while will use the organic, natural. The point is that I felt, I literally wouldn't go places unless I had my deep, dark self-tan.
No, you'd stay at home.
I would cancel plans. I would, I didn't feel good enough. I felt it made me appear the way that beautiful people appeared. So, it was a problem for me. It was myself. I was using these things and saying to myself, you're not good enough unless you alter this about you.
Right, and it was a symptom of bigger things for you. I mean, when 100%. It comes to weight loss and...
Oh, there was way more things going on. I'm not saying this was the... I'm saying...
But it's a good analogy.
When I saw myself in this photo and didn't think I was hideous, is what I was saying. I was like, oh my gosh, my skin looks so white, it looks so clear. And it just came back to me about how I used to just hate that about myself and how crazy that is, because that's who I naturally was. And I'm not saying you can't use self-tanner or using self-tanner is a bad thing. I'm saying if you're doing it to alter yourself, and if the alteration is actually could cause cancer, then that's a form of self-hate.
Yes.
You know, if I use in the summer now a little bit of self-tanner, I'm not doing it because I don't feel good enough. I do it because, you know, I'd like to look a little bronzed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's a less, it's not a heart thing.
It's not out of hate.
It's not out of hate.
And so this sort of tied into your bigger message of what Damie Health is and what your program is. So you decided to write about it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big thought
No,
out.
and it's an excellent post, too. As soon as I read it, I was like, we got to get this out here right away.
It was just a moment. It was just a moment of honesty. And,
Yeah,
and it also spread from how, you know, these women on my program or in my life contact me and tell me these things they hate about themselves. And I just, every time I meet a woman or see a photo of a woman, I just think, my God, they're so beautiful. If they could see themselves, you know, past those with clear eyes, they would see what I can see, and they would see how beautiful they are. So what I was saying is my wish for the new year is that everyone, and especially women, because that's who I identify with, I want everyone to head into the new year with the base of loving themselves. And where this gets confusing for some people, for some reason, is that the idea that you love yourself means there's nothing to change.
Right. And this is something I think you're really good at explaining. And you always say to me, and you have said, I know, to our members thousands of times, you know, you are perfect and then there's more.
Right.
But sometimes it doesn't come across. And
right. And I take responsibility for that as well. Sometimes I feel like I explain things shorthanded, and I just expect everybody knows me and knows what I'm talking about. So I just want to take a moment. People had very few people, I want to say, like out of hundreds of people that had a positive response, there were a few people that had a negative response. And the negative response threw me so much that I just have to address it, because it really shook my brain. I didn't understand where they were coming from. So what I want to say is going back to myself and my own journey. So while I was going through this thing of hating my skin color and, you know, getting in this tanning bed and perhaps causing terrible illness just to fit this ideal that I had seen in a magazine, instead of understanding that, you know, I was beautiful, and if I wanted to once in a while, you know, put on a glowing tan, there was natural, organic ways to do that, and it wasn't needed, and who I was good enough. At the same time, I was, you know, in binge purge cycles. I was deep in self-hate. I was using, you know, fat burners. I was in abusive relationships. It was a whole compounded thing. So what I'm trying to say is, back then, if I knew that I was perfect, if I loved myself, if I could for 1 second see myself as a perfect being, then I would have made choices that were in tune with loving myself. So perhaps I wouldn't go to a tanning bed. I would eat healthy food instead of packaged diet crap. I wouldn't be doing binge purge cycles, because I would instead go for a walk, and I would drink water and vegetables, and I would do things not out of fear, which ends up hurting you. I would do things out of love. So, you know, to this day, I love myself, but I'm still moving forward in my life. I still have things I want to accomplish. There's things I want to do.
Perfect. I mean, you posted it. So what you're saying is you're coming from a place of peace. You're coming from a place of self-love. And that's how...
When you love yourself as you are, then you make choices in tune with loving yourself the same way you would as you love a child. You love a child, you want to provide that child with healthy food. You want that child to have adequate rest. You want that child to have a high self-esteem, yet you still want that child to learn things and move forward in life.
Right.
You know, we all see children as
change.
Perfect. We still want children to grow and change. There's still, you know, if you are overweight and it's negatively affecting you and it makes you miserable and, you know, you're winded easily and getting dressed is torture.
Yeah, and your blood pressure's high and cholesterol's high.
And you know that you have excess body fat, or you know that you're not eating properly, or you know you're not moving every day and you're not drinking water. Loving yourself right there means you see yourself, you see that perfect part of you. You see that wholeness, that part in you that can never be changed, it can never be altered. It is the essence of who you are. It is unaffected by events that have happened, things people have done to you, things you've heard, and things you've done to yourself. You are perfect in there. And then you move forward and you make choices for that perfect person. So if you are overweight, then you still do eat healthy. Right. It doesn't mean that you're perfect. Oh, I'm just going to go to McDonald's. No, it sets you up for higher. It puts you in a position of power. It says, instead of beating yourself up, I'm overweight, which sends you into self-hate, which makes you choose McDonald's. You say, I'm a goddess. I deserve better than this. And I'm going to eat healthy, and I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to see where my body likes to be weight-wise. That's what I'm trying to say. And I firmly believe that the programs that I offer give the proper tools to set up change.
I like it.
So I have to put it out there.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think it's clear.
If I had me, say when I was 17, 18, 19, 21, 25, if I had someone like me to just give me the tools and with no extremes and just say, this is what really needs to be done. And if you do this hard work, then you're going to set yourself up for a lifetime of peace, health, ease, and just evolving continually. Then I could have saved years. So that's where my passion came from. My passion came from doing things horrible ways.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm here today. And then I want to take what I've learned, I want to shortcut it to anyone that is looking for help.
I think the way you put your message helps people hear it quicker. Because we know that, everyone is hearing things based on their own experience. And then they're making the judgments based on what they've been through. So, you could hear that and say, oh, she's a hypocrite. She says, I'm perfect the way I am. But then I should go and lose weight. So
that's where...
So if you're hearing it from your past experiences and you're not ready to hear it in this way... I mean, I've been there. I've heard things before that I have thought, oh, this makes no sense. This is absolutely wrong. And then 5 years later have thought, gosh, if I had have listened to that, then I would be in a totally different place now. I would have gotten to a place quicker.
I think also there's confusion that I'm not trying to tell anybody that you have to do anything.
Right.
This is my life mission. This is my expertise, and this is what I offer. And I constantly lay it at the feet of people. Yeah. I'm not saying you need this.
No.
To anybody.
And that's powerful too. It
is powerful. I mean, people get mad at me. Why don't you market hard? Why don't you do this? Why aren't you in these people's faces? It's because I'm not trying to manipulate anybody. Ever. So I was very insulted when it was insinuated that I was telling people that they should be something, or that I was telling people they're currently not good enough. That strikes really deep, because that could not be more different than the essence of who I am or what I believe. Yeah. I've never looked at a woman or anybody and thought, well, they could improve. Never.
No.
I don't look at anyone with any judge eyes, ever. I never have. I have the most love for everybody. And where I come from is, if you want to change, I have a really great path, and I will guide you. I will be there for you. If I don't know the answers, I'll find the answers. I'm going to provide you with the most resources, literally, that are available in any other program, online. So,
well, I think it's pretty clear.
Oh, but the other thing is that I think people have to remember that I'm very passionate about helping people that aren't at peace with themselves. So I have to use, Google search terms and titles that attract the people that would be purchasing things that perhaps could either hurt them or that aren't going to set them in peace.
Oh yeah, it's important.
So that one of the major things is this person had a problem that my program was called the original best-selling Bikini Body Program. I want everyone to understand that that's the doorway which people find me often. People are like, told by media or told by themselves, or, also not everyone's tortured. I don't want to sound like everybody's tortured. Some people want to look hot in a bikini, and there's zero shame with that. So I don't want to act like, that's shameful. It's not. My job is to help whoever comes through. But if you're coming through searching the internet for how to look hot in a bikini, thank God you find me. That's all I have to say. Because there's a million ways that you could go, and I will always compete with those big companies and those major search terms that they use, because that's how women find me, and that's how I change and help people. So yeah, you can look hot in a bikini, but also you can be really healthy and happy with who you are. And you want to look hot in a bikini just because you want to look hot in a bikini, not because the world's telling you should look hot in a bikini.
Yes.
Right? So I'll never apologize for that.
No.
Because if I don't use those search terms, if I don't use those bold titles, then I don't get to meet these people.
Mm-hmm.
And what would be the point of that? Why would I turn my back and let them just toil away for years and years with these things that could hurt them? That's not my mission. My mission in life is to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I think it comes across.
Well...
I don't know how to segue from this. This is a heavy start.
It is a heavy start.
It's important, though.
Well, it's important to me.
Well, I mean, laying the foundation for, what you do, especially when it comes to, our radio show here and getting the word out across the world. It can be heavy because you're very passionate, obviously.
Yes.
So let's do a rough segue or a hard segue into the top health stories of the day. What I want to do is just go through a few things and get your opinion on them. And I think this is going to be really funny because there's some really funny ones that have come up today that I think you have already commented on before.
Okay, but I have not heard these.
You have not heard these?
Okay.
Okay, so this morning, the National Institute of Health
mm-hmm.
has released a study which says that sugar causes breast cancer tumors to grow. Does that surprise you?
No, but what upsets me is that people will take that title as fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I find that upsetting.
Yeah, that is upsetting.
And
because in the studies, I mean, okay, so they're very strict about what type of sugar it is, and what the study was a rat study where they gave the rat an equivalent amount of sugar that the regular North American gets. Mm-hmm. Over the course of a year, and it showed that in the rat it caused breast tumors to grow. Mm-hmm. Now they figured out what type of sugar it was, and it's high fructose corn syrup, and then separated from that, just fructose.
See, but what is upsetting is people that could use that information to push their agenda
fruit.
And they're going to say it's fruit.
Right.
And
now there's a difference here that needs to be made clear.
Yes.
About what this type of sugar is and what fruit is.
Right, but the point is like, I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. We read a title and we're like, okay, and then we move on.
Mm-hmm.
And if some big company that doesn't believe in fruit and believes in just eating steak,
yeah, that's going to be a problem.
They're going to use it.
Yeah,
and then it'll be manipulated, and yeah, that's so.
So we're talking about fruit has fiber and water and nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
This study is based on sugars added to foods and table sugar. Just evaluating the effect on the body.
Yeah.
So it's very specific, and there's a very specific inflammatory response that happens, which they measured and shows that it actually causes tumors to grow. The point is, low glycemic index diet is still the way to be
mm-hmm.
in terms of cancer prevention,
mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to breast cancer.
Yeah.
So that's news story number one. I mean, we've been talking about sugar causing cancer for a long time, but
did that come out this morning?
Yeah.
Great. So every woman coming back off Christmas break indulging is going to go read that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Great way to start.
Great way to start.
Back off the holidays.
Story number two is about our kids and the anxiety and depression in schools. So the rates of anxiety and depression amongst kids growing up. As we sit here staring from our office at an elite school for young people,
mm-hmm.
Basically... epidemiological studies throughout the U.S. are showing that in some places there's an 80% increase in anxiety amongst youth, and up to 50% of youth have depression or score high enough on depression scales that they can be classified as mild or at huge risk.
I'm not surprised.
And oh my gosh, me neither. And it's the pressure. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what I like. I have no idea how children navigate today.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea with social media, with media, with the role models they have,
mm-hmm.
and then what they're going to have to do to be successful.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's very scary, and they're saying that it's starting at kids as young as 5, 6, and 7, which we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
But I know that, as a kid myself, I put pressure on myself to
mm-hmm.
be great. I
mm-hmm.
wanted to be the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think growing up today, it would be exponentially worse for me.
Yeah.
What about you? Well, how do you think you would do in today's world, going through what you went through as a child?
Oh man, I can't even. I mean, in one way, I feel like I would have done a bit better because I would have been able to reach out onto things like YouTube. And I would have been able to see some people working in arts or, you know, spirituality, all these different categories being successful. I would have, because one of my first things when I was young, first I wanted to be a pharmacist. That was strange to think about now. And then my father, out of love, went out and purchased a bunch of schooling supplies and the periodic timetable, and then that became after school, before school, summers. It was a lot of, and my personality, I just, I'm not ever going to be good enough. I just quit and just backed off everything. So then I went more into an arts direction, and I wanted to be a makeup artist, a famous makeup artist, and I searched out these amazing schools. And out of love, again, my father was, you know, there's no such thing as a wealthy, successful makeup artist. And out of my little tiny small town of 8,000 in the middle of nowhere, I couldn't come up with evidence elsewise. There was no internet. There was no YouTube. That's right. You know. So in one way, I think it would have been better. In the other way, I mean, I get anxiety now looking at Instagram. It's like a love-hate. You make fun of me all the time. It's like I'm abusive with it. I see these people and I'm like, these perfect lives and perfect pictures and their houses are perfect and they look perfect and they dress perfect, and how is this happening?
It's difficult to stay centered when you're looking through that.
Yeah, when I'm looking at myself trying desperately just to get out the door without dog hair on me.
Yeah.
Or like in one piece, or just be on time, or, you know, I don't know if I ever get my list for the day completely done. There's always something falling off. So I think it would probably be horrible. And then the pressure of what you have to do now to be successful. You have to be excellent. And I'm sure every generation looks back at the last generation and feels the same, but I don't know. I look at my niece on Instagram and it just makes my heart hurt sometimes. Well,
there is hope. There is hope because there's this movement for families to do no technology days. There's a movement to, you know, restrict homework in the weekends and increase sleep. What they're finding with these kids is that they're sleeping less because they're doing more homework, which seems crazy to us. As kids, we're trying to do less homework.
I know.
But the pressure is really on. So it could be an epidemic if we don't get things straightened out right away. We're talking 15 years from now when these kids are in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
But I think there's lots of support out there. It's just about getting the right message across on social media.
Yes, and one thing that my sister does that does work for her family, she sees a difference in behaviors when she sticks with the no technology day once a week.
Yeah, I mean it's a real it's
and
very
a weekend
effective.
Day, so it's a full day. So say on Sunday.
Yeah.
And you know, she finds their behavior is different. You know,
yeah, it's
more
effective.
Relaxed, more fun. They're more together as a family.
Also, as a culture, I mean, we're putting too much pressure on each other to be a certain way. So I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's really up to
each
individual, and then teachers.
But I understand how it doesn't happen, because just swinging back to our first conversation, you know, Saturday evening, I just had this moment of, oh gosh, and I wanted to share it because I wanted to touch out to people and, you know, let people know heading into the new year that, you know, transformation is possible. You can go from a place of hating something about yourself to genuinely loving it, and just sharing a piece of my honesty, which, you know, I sometimes have a hard time conveying, and I was attacked within seconds.
Yeah, it's very difficult out there, especially for women, I think.
And I'm an adult.
Yes.
Okay? And I have a lot of tools and years of experience to handle myself, and it still bothers me.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to portray myself as a victim because, again, I am a full-blown adult making adult decisions.
And you handled it really well.
Well, yeah, I'm getting better, but I can't imagine being a child.
No.
And just, you know, like, sharing a selfie of yourself and then being attacked. I mean, it's just, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, it just wasn't possible when we were kids.
In a different way.
Not on such a scale.
No, not on a scale that you go back and reflect on it, too. You know, like, mean things are said to you as a child, and then your day kind of goes on, and you think about it, and you think, that's hurtful. But then the experience kind of wears off. These are held up in time by, they can just go back and read it over and over and over. And
yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Difficult situation. The third health story I wanted to go over was this new technology that's coming out of MIT. which is athletic clothing that's made of an ancient bacteria that
Is this the video that I saw when I came in?
This is the video you saw when you came in. This is so cool.
No.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It's MIT and New Balance.
Mm-hmm.
They created this technology where when your body temperature reaches a certain level, the ancient bacteria, I don't know what their role is. I don't know the science yet. But the vents in the clothing will open to cool you down.
The video I saw looks like you turn into a fish.
Yeah.
No.
Very cool.
No.
This is legit science.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be coming out. That'll be coming out soon. It might take some time. And it might be expensive.
Yeah, I think we'll see it maybe on some elite athletes or... I mean...
We'll see it on our nephews. They'll be into it. They'll be into it right away. Wearing ancient bacteria to have extra ventilation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything to get the edge. So what did we cover? We covered the ancient bacteria, new athletic clothing. We've got sugar, table sugar, added sugar to foods, causes breast tumors and causes breast tumors to grow. So low glycemic index, still the best in terms of breast cancer prevention. And then we have to do something about anxiety and depression in kids.
So I don't want anyone to listen to these things and feel like you're just being bombarded with more news. The angle that we always want to deliver these things, these are the hot topics of today, but we want you to know that if any of these areas concern you, you have the power today to make different choices. So if you feel like you did eat a lot of sugar over the holidays, just stop eating sugar today.
Yeah, in an instant.
Vegetables, fruit, drink water. Just keep it simple, keep it natural.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel, your child is being bombarded, perhaps consider a no technology day.
Yes.
Even yourself as an adult. I do it. I just self-segregate.
I
do a no technology day myself. So let's not say just children.
No.
And if you're interested in becoming a fish, look into this.
Come on, it's extra ventilation.
Look.
It's valuable.
Nope. Go for it.
That's Healthy Rebel Radio. That's episode 1. Thanks for listening to the show. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamieHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamieHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamieHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamieHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.